Hey everyone, and welcome to What's Been Playing, the show where we put a spotlight on select video games and answer the lifelong question of what is really worth playing. Yeah, sorry about that. I've been having a bit of a ghost problem since our last video. You know what? Give me a sec. Here it is. Fucking son of a bitch. All the fucking times you gotta joke with me. Alright, there we go. That should do it. Well, that settles that. Alright, that settles that. Welcome everyone, it's Spook Month. I decided to get rid of the red sweatshirt, didn't think that would go too well with the green hat.
Mamma mia.
As you can see, I've clearly decorated for the occasion. Before we look at some more recent games and topics, I thought it'd be nice to do the traditional gaming YouTube reviewer channel thing and have a Halloween special. I was gonna wear a Luigi hat, but mine is at home, so this'll have to do. Of course, when it comes to spooky video games, you have your traditional games like Amnesia, Resident Evil, or Silent Hill. But when I'm thinking about the perfect game to set me into the Halloween spirit, no game puts me in that mood more than Luigi's Mansion. Ah, Luigi's Mansion. Now this is a game I have some very fond memories of. It was one of the first games I was given for my GameCube collection. Though I didn't have a GameCube, I had the original Wii model, so I was still able to experience these games without having to look for the original console. Though I think I got it at a time where I didn't have a memory card, so let's just say I really got used to the first hour of the game or so. But eventually, I did get one and was able to finish the game proper. I love this game so much, easily one of my favorite games on the system. And hey, it helped develop Luigi into a character that was more than just the standard second player that he was known as, so I think the result was a huge success. It even spawned itself some sequels later down the line that I will definitely be sure to look at in the future. There was also a remake of Luigi's Mansion that released on the 3DS back in October of 2018. I would give it more of a thorough look at, but since I currently lack a way to capture footage of 3DS games, I'm probably not gonna give it a look at. But I did play it when it came out, so I can at least recall what I liked and didn't like about it later in the review. This is the part where I would hold up the case for the game, but I don't exactly have it on me right now. It's in a time capsule that I can't open up until 2025. Let's waste no more time, shall we? The room's all decorated, the time is right. Let's take a look at Luigi's Mansion. Ah, the GameCube, one of Nintendo's most underrated consoles. Despite the less than favorable sales for Nintendo, I still think the GameCube easily has one of the best libraries for any console, ever. Super Mario Sunshine, Melee, The Wind Waker, Metroid Prime 1 and 2, Resident Evil 4, there were so many good games on the console. As a launch title for the GameCube, I'm sure fans of Mario were definitely a little confused to see Mario's little brother, Luigi, take on the starring role this time around. Prior to the GameCube, every Nintendo console had a Mario game ready to go at launch, but this time around, they wanted to shake things up. Prior to Luigi's Mansion, Luigi was just simply the player 2 to Mario, not getting a lot of special attention other than his appearance in Super Mario Bros. 2. That is, until the release of Mario is Missing for the Super Nintendo, where Luigi finally got his chance to shine. Oh, it's an educational game? And a not-so-good one to boot? Well, I guess it makes sense why he didn't try to star in another game until then. Looking at pre-release footage from events like E3 and Space World 2000, when Luigi's Mansion was nothing more than a tech demo, the game was looking to be unlike the traditional platforming adventures the Mario games were known for. Luigi looked to be inside the spooky mansion at the mercy of these hostile-looking ghosts that are looking to give Luigi some trouble. Fans were not only getting a game in which Luigi is getting the starring role, but something that looked more akin to a horror game? It was definitely perplexing to say the least. Nonetheless, the GameCube would go on to launch on September 14, 2001, with Luigi's Mansion, as well as many other titles, launching alongside it. The game also featured a neat little trailer for Pikmin as well, which is a cute touch. Despite the strange premise for a Mario game, the game was overall received really well, for serving as a great example as to what the GameCube could do, and for just being a great action-adventure game in general. But enough with the intro. I'm dying to give this game a revisit, as there's not much more to do than to boot the game up and explore this spooky mansion ourselves. Oh man, it feels so good to hear this intro again. Starting off, we see Luigi strolling on towards a huge mansion that he supposedly won in a contest that he didn't enter. Maybe it's like the Mario equivalent to those free iPhone ads on the internet? Despite the huge red flag that this scenario holds up, Luigi enters the mansion regardless, and you're immediately hit by the tonal shift this game has compared to other Mario games. You're given a good shot of the lobby after you enter the mansion, showing you the more realistic looking architecture inside. Shortly after entering, however, he's met by a strange floating orange blob that floats its way toward the locked door on the second floor of the foyer, but not before dropping the key in the process. Entering the dark room, he gets ambushed by the blob he encountered earlier, which turned out to be a spooky ghost, but finds assistance by some random old man with cleaning equipment? Well, anyways, he attempts to catch the ghost, only to fail miserably. Come on, really? It's the easiest ghost to catch in the whole game. The geezer introduces himself as Professor Elvin Gadd, or EGAD for short, a scientist who spends most of his time studying ghosts. After giving the two a brief moment of time, the old man urges Luigi to follow him to get to safety. According to EGAD, the mansion that stands before them has only just appeared a few days ago, and also mentioned that he did in fact see Mario go in, but hasn't seen him come out since. It looks like it's up to Green Mario to save him this time around. EGAD entrusts Luigi with the Poltergust 3000, a vacuum-like device capable of capturing the ghost that the mansion is crawling with, as well as the Game Boy Horror, which EGAD can use to communicate with Luigi throughout the journey. After some brief training, Luigi slowly enters the mansion, ready to look for his brother. As far as action-adventure games go, Luigi's Mansion is pretty standard. Luigi goes from room to room, clearing ghosts out, grabbing keys to new rooms. A shout out to the jingle that plays when you get a key, by the way. Hump objects to your heart's content. Maybe try calling for Mario if you're bored, I guess.
Mario!
Search for treasure, rinse and repeat for each area. And wow, let me just say, few things in life are as satisfying as catching ghosts in this game. Catching ghosts is all a matter of hitting it at the right time with your flashlight, and by pressing and holding the R button, you'll start to suck it up, entering a fierce tug of war. At this point, it all becomes a matter of holding the control stick in the opposite direction, trying to sap out as much health from the ghost as you can. It's super addicting and always makes the situation feel intense. It's always great when you get into just the right position to suck up as much health from the ghost as possible. The way the ghosts are designed are pretty solid. Despite looking like creatures from the Mario universe, they're still able to look threatening and hostile. Once every ghost's health in the room drops to 0, the room will light up, revealing a chest or some other goodie. But as you progress through the mansion, however, you'll begin coming across ghosts sporting more human-shaped proportions. Introducing one of Luigi's Mansion's most defining traits, the portrait ghosts. Ghosts who used to be portraits as a part of EGAD's collection. Unlike regular ghosts, these spooky specters require a bit more thought to capture. By analyzing the surrounding environment, or using simple trial and error, you'll eventually be able to find the key to capturing them. Take the second portrait ghost you encounter, Lydia, who by moving the curtains to bring in some cold air, she'll get distracted, allowing you to capture her. Or Shivers the Butler, who according to his bio is afraid of fire, but if you light the candle he's holding, he'll begin to run or float to his room, where once he becomes exhausted, you can make your move. Yeah, doesn't sound like he's all too bright. None of these encounters are real brain teasers, just take a bit more effort to capture. Some of them are optional, but come on, you expect me to just not capture Biff Atlas? Fuck that, I gotta catch 'em all. You also have some great bosses here too. You have these cool arenas and cool boss themes. Chauncey the Baby is a great starting boss portrait ghost, using baby toys to attack. Once you defeat the boss ghost, you head back to EGAD's lab, you revert the portrait ghost back into portraits, rinse and repeat for every other area. And this is where Luigi's Mansion truly shines in my opinion. Not only do these portrait ghosts provide a unique challenge for Luigi to overcome, but they also have interesting backgrounds that make you want to learn more about them. Not all portrait ghosts are hostile either. Take Madame Clairvoyant, a fortune teller ghost who actually offers to give Luigi assistance in finding Mario in exchange for Mario's 5 missing items that are hidden throughout the mansion. A spare hat, a shoe, a letter, a glove, and a star. To help tie things into the Mario series a bit more, there are also boos to capture. After heading into the storage room in the second area, Luigi, like a dumb idiot, presses a button that releases a whole bunch of boos, as well as their leader, King Boo. After gathering enough of Mario's items, it's revealed by Madame Clairvoyant that King Boo is responsible for capturing Mario and releasing all of the portrait ghosts as well. To make things worse, she sees Bowser in her crystal ball, hinting that it may not all be King Boo's doing. But wait, if all the boos were stuck in the hatch in the ground, how did King Boo get out? And whatever, maybe it was just a trap for Luigi. The mansion now features 50 boos for you to find and capture, and I don't really know how to feel about this. Once a room becomes lit, there will be a sensor on your Game Boy Horror that will beep quicker the closer you are to where the boo is hiding. If it isn't a bomb or a boo ball, a boo will come out of whatever object or piece of furniture it's hiding in. Looks like the Boos think that Luigi's interesting method for searching objects is a little uncomfortable too. But catching the ghosts here feel a little weird. Unlike regular ghosts, it doesn't feel like Boos have, I guess, resistance when you try to suck them up. Rather, they just float in place and try to move around while you try to suck them up. A quick pro tip, alternating between the ice element that you can use later in the game as well as the suck button can help sap a good amount of their HP. What really sucks about Boo encounters, however, is the fact that they're able to go through walls into a different room, turning these encounters into a constant back and forth between rooms at times. And God forbid it doesn't go into a locked room, because if it does, you're kinda fucked, which is a little bullshit. While their HP starts out reasonable when you first encountering them, you'll eventually start encountering Boos with HP up to 300! Come on, are you joking? It's not a hard quest by any means, just a bit annoying, I'd say. As I briefly referenced earlier, along with catching ghosts, another huge aspect of this game is collecting money. Money is everywhere in this game, from coins, bills, bars of gold, pearls, rubies, diamonds, and more. Luigi can get fucking rich in this game. By searching any object in the mansion, chances are you'll find money. After each area, you'll get the total amount of money you've earned in said area, and man, those are some large numbers. It helps incentivize the player to really explore every nook and cranny of the mansion. Portrait Ghosts will also drop pearls as well, with larger pearls being given out depending on how much HP you can sap out without losing your grip. Yeah, Mario gets rewarded by saving the day, but with what? A cake? A kiss on the cheek? Fuck that! Luigi makes bank! Looking at the size of the mansion, I feel like one would expect for the game to be a bit more of an open-ended experience, but it's quite linear actually. Each key corresponds to a specific room in the mansion, guaranteeing that you will follow a straight path for almost the entire adventure. If the opening portion of the game wasn't enough to really drill in the setting this game is trying to go for, then the future areas in the mansion will. The graphics and sound here are so on point. Throughout your journey through the mansion, muted colors, dim lighting, and an overall lack of background noise accompany almost every area in the mansion. Aesthetics can go a really long way when establishing a game's world. Luigi's Mansion does that and then some, creating an environment that not only makes you slightly uneasy, but makes it a place you want to explore. But that doesn't mean that the atmosphere can't get intense. I mean, the first major encounter you have in the parlor is a perfect example. No joke, this part with the talking paintings always freaked me out as a kid. The art direction is different, but not out of place in the context of the Mario universe, finding a nice balance in between. Like I said earlier too, there really isn't a lot of background noise either, aside from Luigi's footsteps and the occasional thunder. Barely any other noise will be present in rooms whether ghosts are in them or not. But when there is music in the background, oh man. The iconic Luigi's Mansion theme plays throughout the hallways of the unlit areas and it's so good! Something that's kind of cool is that when you're in an area that's lit up, he'll whistle the tune, which also acts as the background music, but in the dark, unlit areas, the once relaxed version Luigi was humming takes on a more sinister sound to it. It's such great sound design. Not all the music is your average spooky sounding songs either. This soundtrack knows how to get funky. The training room theme, the little tune that plays after finishing an area, the credits theme. The credits theme. Soundtrack knows how to be funky when it needs to be. The mansion, despite its plain exterior, is super distinct, featuring a bunch of iconic locations. You have the backyard leading to the spooky graveyard, the Clockworks room with an elevator that leads to the roof, the little mouse hole that takes you to the secret treasure room, and of course the astral room. Everyone talks about this section, and I will happily do the same. By taking a look through the telescope at the moon, you actually get transported into space. And after blowing up the fucking moon, a path opens up, revealing the path to the star. It's such a cool moment, easily the highlight moment of the mansion. But wait, if Mario had a star on him, couldn't he just use it on the whatever, there I go again, just overthinking things. Some of the rooms in the mansion even make the simple act of catching ghosts a bit more difficult. Even if it's only in a few instances, I love how they try to make the player feel more involved in the ghost catching process. It's a picture, but I wouldn't exactly call it art. Damn, Luigi's pretty savage. Oh, and of course you have that awesome tease at the bottom of the well, showing Mario trapped in the painting as Luigi just looks from the lion statue, unable to reach him. Need I mention the blackout after Area 3? This also freaked me the fuck out as a kid. Of course, we also have the big bad final boss, King Boo. A great antagonist for Luigi. After collecting enough boos and clearing the 4th area, Luigi is finally ready to take on King Boo in the basement. And man, this iteration of King Boo is so cool. Compared to the King Boo more people may know, this version is more threatening and aggressive. This is the King Boo I know. After reaching the final room and letting greed get the better of you first, come on, I'm sure Mario would understand. We are finally ready to confront King Boo, but King Boo doesn't plan on going down so easily. Looking to add Luigi to his portrait collection, King Boo warps the portrait of Mario into the King of Koopas himself, Bowser. But Not really. Rather, King Boo uses a Bowser doll, but it's not really specified when you first play. But once you grab one of Bowser's spiked balls and... Resident Evil, give me a break. Silent Hill, child's play. This is some true rated M horror right here. Well, after you get over that case of mental scarring, the fight is pretty simple. Avoid the fire, shoot the spiked balls back at Bowser, revealing King Boo, and then proceed to drain his health while avoiding the decapitated Bowser head. It's not too difficult of a battle, but it makes for one hell of a final boss thanks to the awesome scenery and intense music. After a bit of back and forth, Luigi finally captures King Boo, like all the other ghosts, and without any other obstacles in the way, is finally able to take Red Luigi's portrait back to Gadd's lab. By using the portraitification device that you've been using throughout the game in reverse, you're finally able to bring Mario back into his original form, and after shedding a quick tear of joy, the brothers are finally reunited. The credits roll with that funky as fuck jam, and it's revealed that with the money Luigi was able to gather throughout his adventure, you're able to get your very own mansion for yourself. The size of the mansion depends on how much money you earn throughout the mansion. Think of it as the ending of Wario Land with the castle. Now this is a solid reward. What's great is that this game doesn't take long to beat either. Like the Sonic games, Luigi's Mansion features a lot of replayability for you to go back and maybe try playing with a different stipulation. Like maybe trying to get as much, or as little, money as possible. Or if you feel like skipping over the optional portrait ghost for some reason, doing that. While some may see the game's length as a downside, I think that the journey is both memorable and fun enough to warrant such a length. Besides, after beating the game, you get the ability to play the Hidden Mansion, a second quest that's a bit harder as well as your poltergust being much more powerful. While I don't think it's enough to warrant a second playthrough, it's still much appreciated. It would have been nice to get the European and Australian version's Hidden Mansion though, which is way harder and much more interesting to play through. But the story doesn't end there. During a Nintendo Direct in 2018, it was announced that the original Luigi's Mansion would be remade for the 3DS. As to why it wasn't released on the Switch? Good fucking question. As I said at the start of the video, I don't have the game, nor do I have a way to record footage for it, so this section will be more or less me recounting my personal experiences and talking about the general conversational points that are brought up with this remake. Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS sought out to remake the GameCube original, while adding some small changes here and there. For starters, let's talk about the visuals, which, I don't know, I'm kind of in the middle about. While I think the environments look a tad nicer from the original as well as Bowser and King Boo's model, I think Luigi and a lot of the ghosts really don't look as good. While I know that a lot of people are fine with Luigi's model here, I don't know, I feel like it's a bit less expressive. If you look at the original game, Luigi had this level of squash and stretch to his model whenever he was scared or shocked. In this version, I think Luigi is just less expressive, which I really think is detrimental to his character, which the original version helped to establish. I don't think it's bad by any means, just a bit off. The ghosts are also missing a bit of their transparency due to the somewhat weaker hardware, which I think takes away from their ethereal presence they had in the original. The game also marked the debut of Green Luigi, Gooigi, a nice little teaser for things to come in Luigi's Mansion 3. Almost like how some Pokemon specials would leak Pokemon from generations yet to be released. But yeesh, his presence here? Oh god. So Gooigi acts as a second player that can be used either in the main story or rematches against the portrait ghosts, basically, and wow, this game genuinely was not tested for multiplayer. Just look at this footage. While not mine, of course, this is basically everyone's experience trying the two players here. It looks miserable. It even looked like that during the trailers, too. It's just confusing why the company who made this remake, Grezzo, who developed the game's sequel with a multiplayer mode that was able to run so smoothly, had this multiplayer mode run so poorly. I personally never have played the main story in multiplayer, but I do remember doing a few battles with a portrait ghost with a friend and it just not being fun. Lastly, we have the control. I didn't like it. Due to the fact that the 3DS doesn't have a reliable C-stick, moving Luigi around will feel like a very awkward maneuver. I remember it taking a really long time to get accustomed to this. While the game does support the use of the Circle Pad Pro, most people don't have that laying around, so it was either no C-stick if you're on an older model, or the one on the new 3DS or 2DS. To circumvent this issue, the game allows you to use the system's gyro to aim, which I guess is nice, but they also add the strobe bulb feature that made its debut in the sequel. But I think it's a neat addition here. While yes, it does help fix a problem that came from releasing on the 3DS, I think it's a nice way to shake up the gameplay after repeated playthroughs. Of course, if you don't want to use it like I did, because I'm just a stickler for the original game's mechanics, you can always use the original flashlight as well. Despite the few things I don't think the game does very well, I think there is a good amount of things this game does right. One of the biggest talking points here is the new Hidden Mansion. Now this is a great way to replay the game with some added stipulations. While I never tried it, I know it does add a great amount to make this second romp more exciting. stronger ghosts that appear earlier, modified boss attack patterns, more poison mushrooms. It definitely sounds like a more difficult adventure. You also have the ability to rematch portrait ghosts, which I briefly mentioned earlier. While I don't think the remake is a bad way to experience the game, I would consider the GameCube version to be the more worthwhile experience. But if the 3DS is all you have, it's perfectly fine. And well, that's going to conclude our review of Luigi's Mansion. Even if this game is 20 years old, it's still a classic, and serves as a great introduction to the character of Luigi that we know today. With some great atmosphere, addicting gameplay, and a great mansion to explore, Luigi's Mansion serves as one of the GameCube's most iconic titles. The GameCube was known for its experimental titles, and Luigi's Mansion was one of their stronger ideas that they threw at the dartboard. Whether on the 3DS or the GameCube, you're still in for a fun time. I had a complete blast revisiting this game, and put me in the mood to play some of the other games too. Like I said, if I could record 3DS footage, I would definitely do a review of the sequel, but as it is now, that'll have to wait. Well, it looks like the ghosts were content with my review of the game. With Spooky Month coming to a close, I think it's about time to get back on track. So everyone, have a great Halloween, and I'll see you next time. I really should have brought my Luigi hat.